Marbling Lace and Foil Gel Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys! In today's video I am going to be showing you some new Madam Glam colors that are all over my nails, as well as kind of a different stone marbling technique that uses some foil and a sponge. So that's kind of fun, and it's really pretty, and it's kind of one of those background colors that you can paint other things on top of. I know on my mom's nails I use the same technique and I just put some flower outlines and it looked really pretty. So I hope you guys like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
On your ring finger, I'm going to be starting out by applying 2 coats of Madam Glam's navy blue, which, as you can see in the video, the coverage is out of this world. It's perfect. And then I'm going to apply a second coat just for good measure and cure that again. And then after that, I applied some top coat and then I buffed it just so that the paint would apply a little bit easier for me, especially doing this little lace pattern. Having that nice kind of a scratched surface paints easier. So now I'm going to be taking a very light gray paint and I'm going to be painting my little design. So I started out with 2 kind of like a little half moon lines coming down from my cuticle. And those, they do not have to be perfect. You're going to be touching them up with a different color gel polish in a second. So if they're not completely smooth or they're a little lumpy or bumpy or crooked, that's fine. You can always fix them later. And then using that same gray paint, I'm going to start adding little tiny loops coming down from the second of the larger loops, and then add kind of a petal shape coming from those. And at this point, you do want to be a little bit more cautious with your lines because these ones are how they're going to be in the end. But if you do have to fix them, there's never that. You can just go through with some of that base color and touch them up. And like I said, the coverage for that navy blue was fantastic. You wouldn't have any problem covering up a couple little mishaps with it. Then add a couple little accents in between those petal shapes you want, and then a little dot coming down from the tip of the petal, and then a couple little dots inside the smaller of the first half moons. And then using the color Vintage Blue, I'm going to be filling in that gap that we created with those first 2 lines. Like I said, we were going to be touched up with a different color gel polish. So this is really nice, dusty, my mother calls it soldier blue. It's just a really pretty, kind of classic, very elegant color, if you ask me. And then I'm going to be, on my thumb, applying 2 coats of the color Plum Addict, which of this little set of 5 I'm showing you guys, this color is definitely my favorite, but obviously I do love all of them. But this color is just such a nice, kind of a, I don't know, really simple purple. Nice dark wine purple. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be adding those 2 lines with a little gap between them, but this time instead of, so that first line was one of the gap lines. The second line isn't. So this is a little design above it. And then here's the second line for your little gap for the other color. Like I said, don't worry about it being perfect. Those ones you can paint quick and kind of just do without really too much worry. I'm going to do a different pattern, like I said, around my little gap. So the first one I just had dots above it. So this one I have like a little flower shape. And then and under it, I'm going to be adding a layered loop pattern, which kind of makes it look almost like a basket weave. And then a couple more of those little pole shapes and the dots, just like that. Really pretty lace or henna mandala or something. You know, these patterns can have so many different names and be the same thing. I like calling it lace personally, but it really could be named so many other things. So I'm going to fill in that gap with the color Uptown Girl, which is kind of like a, it's actually very similar to Plum Addict, but it's just ever so slightly pinker. They're both a really dark, very good kind of late winter colors because they're kind of easing into spring, but they're not quite there yet, which is how I would describe our weather. If you guys are, I don't know, maybe you guys have better weather than I do. But on my index nail, I'm going to be applying a coat of Cashmere Gray, then cure that, apply a second coat, don't cure it quite yet. Make sure that that second coat is very thin, and then drop little drops of the 2 shades of blue, so the navy blue and the vintage blue. So just a couple little drops, just like so. So this hasn't been cured at all yet, and let that be, and then take your sponge and just kind of dab it in there. You'll see that your colors get very muted, very diluted, because they're in that pastel gray. So they just kind of marble in really nice. Once you're happy with the way the marbling looks, you can cure it, or if you think, well, I need a couple more dots of this color or that color, you can go ahead and add them and then sponge those in again. And if you wanted it to be a little bit less diluted in color, then you could have just done a layer of clear and then sponged it in. But I'm going to be pressing a piece of silver foil on top of that. The Madam Glam polishes have the perfect amount of tackiness that they will pick up that foil perfectly. And then I'm going to take, and with the darker color, the navy blue, apply a couple little stripes across the nail. So I start out with 2 parallel lines that are going across it at an angle, and then adding 2 perpendicular lines that don't match up across it in the other direction. On my middle nail, I'm going to repeat the same process, but instead of using the blues, I'm going to use the pink and purple. So Uptown Girl and Plum Addict. Just drop those in any which way you want. Then add the other color. And like I said, if you wanted it to not look so diluted, paint your nail that gray and then just apply some gel top coat and then the drops of color and then the sponge. And you'll get a different effect and something kind of fun to play around with and see what different colors work and how they will do that with either using a light colored background color or the clear. You'll get a lot more of a pigment burst that way. Do the same thing, repeat with your foils, just like so. And with the sponging, the foil isn't going to it's not going to cover the nail because the nail isn't entirely smooth. It's smooth enough that once you apply top coat, you'll never notice that it isn't smooth, but just for the foil portion of it, you'll get kind of a nice, very natural looking marbling happening with that metallic foil. And then same thing, I'm going to take the Plum Addict, which to me I think is a darker color. They're both fairly dark, but that one just seems like it's a touch darker. I'm going to be applying the same lines across the nail, but this time I'm going to do them the opposite way, so the angles just go, instead of from the right down to the left, they go from the left up to the right. On my pinky, I'm going to be applying 2 coats of Uptown Girl. Same thing, curing after each coat. So there's the second coat. This color is really just so nice and berry. And then press on some of that foil so it has a nice little silver sheen to it. Apply some gel top coat. And this whole design I think is just so elegant and I have absolutely loved wearing it. I love the foil. I forget that I even own foil. It's one of those products that all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I have foil. I need to use that. And I had it on my nails and I just used it on a client. She's like, I love this. I'm like, I know, I forget to tell people. So anyways, if you guys have foil, I do recommend using it because it is so fun and easy to add little accents on nails. So please share any recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. Don't forget, I've got that discount code for Madam Glam in the description box below. So if you're interested in any of these colors or any of their other colors on their website, check that out. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!